This is Campus Currency, and welcome to this video on the cost of attendance. In this video, we're going to talk about the components that make up the cost of attendance, and we're going to help you determine how much you actually have to pay to attend college. So when you're breaking down the real cost of attending college, it can be an education in itself. That's because college and university websites list all the details of the costs, but they are at best confusing, they can be unclear or hidden or complicated or just simply frustrating for families and students. Here is what you need to know about how the cost of attendance works. There's two categories of components that make up a cost of attendance for any college or university. The first one is called your direct costs, and this includes your tuition, your fees, and your room and board if you're going to be living on campus. The second category is called indirect costs, and these items include things such as your books and supplies, your transportation costs, and any personal or miscellaneous expenses. Let's first take a look at your direct costs. The direct costs represent what the college or university is actually going to bill you for. That's going to be your tuition and fees, and your room and board if you're living on campus, and that's what should appear on your bill. However, these items can vary from one student to the next based on a lot of different conditions. One of those would be residency, whether you're an in-state student, an out-of-state student, an international student, and some bordering states may have a regional tuition rate depending on the state and the college that you're attending. The next one could be a program major, so some majors will have higher costs than others. Usually a science or technology major where you have a lab attached to it may have a higher cost than, for instance, a social science major. Your degree level will make a difference, whether you're an undergraduate student, a graduate, a professional program such as law and dental, or even if you're in a certificate program. You could also have varying rates for your room and board because your room charges could be different based on the type of dormitory, whether it's a campus apartment, whether you're in a single room, double, triple, or quad, and also your board charges. So various meal plans are offered based on different students' needs, and there could be other differences as well. Let's talk about the second category, indirect costs. The indirect costs represent an acknowledgement of the other costs that you may incur while attending college. That would include books and supplies, transportation costs, and personal and miscellaneous expenses. You're not billed for these items by the college. These indirect costs are a recognition of the other types of costs you will likely incur as a result of going to college, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So for example, you're going to need to buy books and supplies. You're going to need to get to the college or university if you're not living on campus, and that requires that you pay for your transportation, whether you have your own car or you take public transportation. You're also going to have other expenses beyond just a room and meal plan, whether you're living on campus or off campus. So for example, you're going to need to buy clothing, do your laundry, buy personal hygiene products. You may have entertainment or health insurance costs as well. If you're living off campus, you're also going to be assigned a room and board component to your cost of attendance as an estimate of what you may be paying for your rent or a mortgage and your meals. So just a reminder, the indirect costs are based on the average amount that a student may pay for the various items and is not based on the exact amount that you personally may or may not pay for each of these items. The concept of indirect costs can sometimes be confusing because this information is displayed on your financial aid award package under the cost of attendance, and that can make it seem like you have to pay for these items. So when you receive your financial aid award package, it may look something like this sample package here. So your estimated cost of attendance is $38,400. Your direct costs, your tuition fees, room and board, come to $33,900. And then your indirect costs, books, materials, supplies, personal travel, and computer, come to $4,500. Now you may pay more or you may pay less for these individual items in the indirect costs. But colleges and universities are required by law to provide estimates for these costs. Each individual university they don't have the resources to collect individual expenses for each student, and that's why an average is obtained. And these average costs are obtained through sources such as student surveys, maybe state economic consumer reports, consumer price index, etc. So you're probably wondering, why are indirect costs even included in your financial aid package? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. The U.S. Department of Education sets the standards so that students are only allowed to receive an aggregate amount of financial aid up to the total cost of attendance. And that's so students can maintain a reasonable amount of financial aid while attending college, but not borrow an overly excess amount of student loans beyond what's necessary to pay for college and provide for living expenses. On the other end of the coin, you have students that can not afford the overall costs associated with attending college, because you're not just going to college and paying for tuition fees, room and board. You also have those extra items that are included in the indirect costs. So by adding those other expenses, the indirect costs, students now have the ability to receive financial aid, or they can borrow loans up to the total cost of attendance if they qualify or if they choose to borrow those loans. Since the college is only billing you for tuition fees, room and board, you're going to receive a refund in the amount of the difference between the total cost of attendance and your direct costs billed by the college. So let's look at an example here. Let's say your total cost of attendance for your college you're attending is $50,000. The direct cost for tuition fees, room and board is $45,000. And then there's the additional $5,000 in indirect costs for books, supplies, transportation, and miscellaneous expenses. You receive your total financial aid award package, and you can receive up to $50,000 in total grants, work study, and loans. Since the college is only billing you for the direct cost of $45,000, that leaves you with $5,000 left over that you can receive as a refund to help pay for those indirect costs, such as your books, supplies, and transportation. So the last thing is, where would you find the cost of attendance for your college or university? You can simply go to the college or university website that you're interested in, and most websites will have a search function, so you're looking for the little magnifying glass. You can enter the cost of attendance and hit search. If that doesn't work, you can also search for tuition and fees. And finally, if that doesn't work, try searching for the financial aid webpage, and they should have the information housed in there somewhere as well. And just some final thoughts on the cost of attendance. If you're beginning the college or university search and you're considering multiple institutions, take down the information on each individual college or university as to their total cost of attendance and the direct costs. And you can create a little document like this and list those items for each individual college. That way, when the time comes and you've been accepted to multiple schools and you have your financial aid award packages in hand, you'll be able to compare those financial aid awards and be able to easily identify which schools are in your most affordable range and what works best for you and your family. I hope you found this information helpful in this video. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the expected family contribution, known as the EFC. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.